Well, the man who blacked out the World Series for millions of viewers says there is only one group to blame: politicians. Bloomberg News' Sarah Rabil joins us now for a look at the recent clash between Cablevision and News Corp. So Chase Carey says blame the government.
He does. He points the finger at them. He says they talked about it so much and they gave this hope to Cablevision that they would step in and intervene, and that was an incentive for Cablevision to drag the process out past the contract deadline and force Fox to institute a blackout. So it forced Cablevision customers to miss, 2 games of the World Series, episodes of Glee, and Chase Carey says it's the government's fault for, trying to pretend like they might step in.
Well, Fox didn't have to go ahead and do that. How can he blame the government?
Fox didn't have to cut its signal, but when the contract is up and they're not getting paid for it, they're saying they're going to cut it off. And so when you come to that impasse, the signal does get dropped.
Okay. Well, if the government hadn't been involved, what does Chase say then would have happened?
He thinks they would have come to an agreement before the contract deadline, before October 16th when the channel was dropped. And he says they would have worked it out, 2 private parties. He thinks Fox deserves to get paid for its signal, even though it's always been free. He thinks they now deserve to get paid for it because they can't support the network on just advertising. It's now losing several $100 million a year. So he thinks Cablevision and Fox would have come to an arrangement without a blackout if the politicians had stayed out.
But in the end, though, didn't Fox come out pretty well in this?
The analysts are estimating that Fox is probably going to get paid about $1 per subscriber a month after a few years once the contract is in full effect. So, Fox has said they're happy with the agreement. Cablevision said it was an unfair price, but they agreed to pay it.
Okay. What did the government do exactly?
They never actually intervened, but there was a lot of politicians talking about it, writing letters. The FCC said they were following it closely. No one actually stepped in, but they kind of acted as if they might step in. Senator John Kerry has even drafted legislation that might make it harder for broadcasters to cut that signal during negotiations.
Okay, so what does this incident mean for future blackouts?
Well, so John Kerry's going to present this legislation next week, the draft that he's come up with. It's probably not going to pass. There's a lot of Republicans in Congress now after the election, so it's probably not going to pass. But they're going to be following all these negotiations going forward very closely. You've got ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox all asking to get paid for something that used to be free. So it's going to be
really
contentious.
But does that mean that we're going to get more blackouts now that Fox has done this?
It's very possible. We've seen it before, and they're now at the most in at least a decade this year. So they're definitely on the rise.
Okay. All right. That's bad news for us subscribers then. All right, Sarah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Betty.
Appreciate that. Sarah Rabil talking about Chase Carey and his thoughts on the blackout between Fox News Corp and Cablevision.